I'm Emily Goldman, founder of Tamarind Financial Planning. For the first 12 years of my career as a financial advisor, I really focused on the numbers. I calculated rates of return and portfolio growth and really kept my eye on the bottom line for my clients. And gradually over the years, it dawned on me that the bottom line wasn't just about money. Other needs have worth too, even if they can't be expressed on a quarterly statement. Eventually, I left my prior jobs and created my own financial advising business, which is my current Tamarind Financial Planning, really taking a holistic approach. Instead of obsessing about stock market moves, I began helping families and individuals identify their values and financial priorities. And that's really the focus of today's webinar, No Rules Retirement. So let's take a look at the big picture for today. This No Rules Retirement workshop is designed to assist you in planning your life and exploring your potential at midlife and beyond. The content and discovery exercises in the No Rules Retirement Workbook are organized into three categories here, three learning modules: a new way of thinking about your future, a new way of thinking about your money, and a new way of thinking about your work. So let's go ahead and get started. We'll begin by examining how we as a society and as individuals view that stage of life we've historically called retirement. And we'll see the truth is that retirement has changed dramatically. Therefore, we need a new way to think about what life will and can be like in the future. In fact, the concept of retirement is undergoing a complete metamorphosis. Democratic, societal, and workplace trends have all converged to offer a stage of life that's much more fluid and flexible than what most of us have previously imagined. In fact, retirement has become more a matter of personal definition. The most important change is that retirement is no longer equated with being old. An extraordinary change has taken place in the last 50 years. In the book, Working Through Demographic Change, authors Elliot Jacques and William Zinke write, "People are living longer and in better health, and the meaning of adult life itself has changed. A whole new stage of mature adulthood has come onto the scene, and old age has been pushed back many years." Likewise, career development expert Helen Harkness believes that we should reject the view that increasing longevity extends old age. In her book, Don't Stop the Career Clock, she writes, "If these extra years are handled wisely, our middle age will double dramatically into a new second midlife while our old age shrinks." Harkness also believes these extra years should be viewed as a precious gift and advises we must take an active hand in managing our windfall. Not only are concepts of old age changing, but individuals are also increasingly rejecting the notion that retirement is synonymous with leisure. Again, authors Jacques and Zinke point out that instead of considering themselves to be old or over the hill, many pre-retirees and retirees realize that a whole new stage of active life is open to them, with limitless opportunities for continued growth and accomplishment. In contrast to the proposition of not working, retirement has come to mean emancipation, freedom to do the kind of work, paid or unpaid, that individuals find most meaningful. Because our life expectancy has increased dramatically since the turn of the 20th century, our challenge and opportunity will be to make the most of our bonus years. The guiding principle of the no rules retirement philosophy is to proactively prepare for life after 50, to strive to not only live longer, but to live better as well. In the best-selling book, Successful Aging, John Rao, MD, and Robert Kahn, PhD, documented the results of a 10-year study of groundbreaking research on aging. And as a result of their exhaustive investigation, the authors concluded there are three main components of successful aging: avoiding disease, maintaining high cognitive and physical function, and actively engaging in life. Of course, these characteristics do not prevent aging, but rather enhance and preserve the quality of life as we grow older. In addition, we need to understand that these components are important throughout life, not just in the later years. I guess I missed one point here. So leisure is important to maintaining good health, of course, and too little is a problem, but too much can also lead to problems like lethargy, indifference, and complacency. In contrast, meaningful goals, new challenges, and productive activities lead to a happy life full of significance and purpose. So this is why the no rules retirement model advocates proactive planning throughout adulthood and in all areas of life. We don't view retirement as a single event, but rather as one of the many transitions in a continuum of life experiences. And those who prepare successfully to navigate through life's other transitions will likely have a similar experience with retirement. That's because the habits, attitudes, skills, values, interests, and relationships that have been honed and developed along life's journey will continue to serve us well in midlife and beyond. Therefore, as you think about your future and the kind of life you would like to have, it is important to acknowledge the personal accountability aspects of both your current and future well-being. An important mantra for anyone, regardless of age, is if it is to be, it is up to me. Make it a priority to invest in all areas of your life. Remember, the choices you make on a daily basis are cumulative and will determine the quality of life you experience 10, 20, and 30 years in the future. As you visualize the lifestyle and quality of life that you would like to have in midlife and beyond, remember that the secret to realizing your dreams is maintaining a future focus. This perspective helps you keep your eyes on the prize and also requires you to acknowledge the influence of choices made today on the future. And most important, creating a no rules retirement is all about identifying, pursuing, and living in sync with your personal values and priorities. In fact, the greater your understanding of what's important to you, the easier it will be to paint a picture in your mind of what you're working toward. And the clearer and sharper your unique picture of no rules retirement becomes, the easier it is to move towards that image. As you purposefully and progressively make room in your life for what's meaningful to you, the degree of happiness and fulfillment that you experience will grow and multiply. So let's, on that note, visualizing your future, take a look at the workbook. On page 8, I wanted to take just a moment or two here to look at this exercise called the Wheel of Life, which you can see here. The idea is to really look at each aspect of life, and you could really define these in a way that makes sense for you. It's not really a predefined, a pre-made definition for each of these categories. So the idea here, if you turn to page 8 and grab your pen or pencil, is make a dot on each spoke. So for each aspect of life, how satisfied are you? 0 in the center, or 10 completely satisfied at the outer rim. So take a minute, and it's meant to be sort of top of mind exercise without without too much analysis. Kind of your first gut reaction to each aspect of life, and mark a spot on each spoke, and then connect all the dots to get a visual of how your wheel looks. So take a minute or two for that. And when you connect all your dots, how does that look? Is the wheel round, or do you have flat spots? Is it deflated? Is it full? Where are the lumps? Where are the bumps? And just looking at that picture, what does that tell you about your life? Is your life balanced? Are there areas that need attention? Are there places where it would make sense to be more intentional with setting some goals over the short term, could be over the long term, but what are the areas in which you would like to see improvement in areas that really matter to you? So that's one just quick visual. And then we're not going to do this now, but when you go back, I think these exercises are pretty helpful in the workbook. The following page on 9, personal insights about life balance. So I think pretty helpful wherever you are on the life continuum, close to retirement, in retirement, or not yet there. And then also page 10, I think visualize your future is really worth taking some notes on that page when you have a minute. So for each category that was on the wheel, there's a category on page 10 for you to write the answers. Just jot them down quickly, as a sort of more insight into each category, what you value in that area, what would make your life richer in that area, and what elements would you like to continue to see or improve in the future. So again, to go back to, but that really starts to bubble up ideas about the future that you're envisioning, and then also maybe starts to bring in some of your values, some of your priorities. I'm keeping an eye on the chat window. I don't see any questions, but if you do have any, feel free to type those in the chat box at the bottom of the GoToMeeting control panel. All right. So the next element here, a new way of thinking about your work. So the old way of thinking about things, that along with this increasing longevity, we're just really living longer. So we could spend 30 or 40 more years of retirement if we think about sort of the 65 time frame being traditional retirement. So not only do we worry then about how we will fund that 30 or 40 years of traditional retirement, we also think about how we will spend our time. And despite these concerns, many people are determined to retire as early as possible because they hate their jobs. Maybe this sounds familiar to some of you. For them, their motivation to retire is to leave behind a situation they find unsatisfactory. Their focus is on what they want to escape rather than on what they want to create. Unfortunately, with this mindset, our retirement experiences will likely be disappointing and unrewarding. In the book Comfort Zones, Elwood Chapman and Marianne Haynes wrote, "Many people are so occupied with getting out of a career trap that they seem to care little about what happens after they leave their jobs. Too many people retire to nothing and then wonder why they feel empty and disenchanted. That's kind of the old view. In contrast, we view retirement as a time to grow, develop, and contribute. Instead of not working, we define retirement as the time when we will be free to pursue whatever kind of work, and that could be paid or unpaid, that we personally find meaningful. As a result, we may experience multiple retirements, moving from one endeavor to another from age 40 to 90 or beyond. Others will choose career sabbatical to pursue new learning, personal renewal, or volunteer service. Still others will stay within their career paths but find renewed enthusiasm by taking on a new assignment or by adapting a new work style such as part-time, part-year, free agency, or telecommuting. I'm just going to point out another exercise here that I think can be helpful. This you could come back to also, but page 12 is No Rules Retirement Role Models. So here, thinking of people that you could look at as role models for achieving meaningful and productive lives in sort of quote unquote retirement years, maybe midlife, beyond midlife, into older age. And here you would jot down what it is you admire about them and what you would like to emulate. So this could be pretty helpful just in thinking of any models that you have of people who are doing this successfully in your sort of success in a way that is meaningful to you. Do you have a clear vision of what you want to do in your retirement years? What productive and fulfilling activities will occupy your days? What do you want to experience? What do you want to achieve? In Comfort Zone, authors Chapman and Haynes write, it's important to retire to something. The more you know about what you really want, the faster your transition will be. You have a destination to work toward. If your retirement picture is still a bit hazy, take a look first at your childhood dreams for inspiration. As a young person, how did you respond when you were asked, what do you want to be when you grow up? Do you remember the answers you gave when you were 5, 10, 15, and 20 years old? Did your answers change as you grew older? Some people find they've abandoned their heart's desire for what seemed to be more lucrative or productive career choice, or maybe to please another person. If someone was going to ask you the same question today, what do you want to be when you grow up? How would you answer? Of course, we know you're already grown up physically, but deeper questions are implied, such as, if you could do whatever you wanted to do in the world of work, what would that be? What pursuits give your life meaning and purpose? Have you discovered your life's work? For many people, retirement has become an opportunity to revisit these questions, a second chance, a second chance to consider what it is to make a life in contrast to just make a living. And we have a few more exercises on this point, page 14 and 15. So on 14, personal insights about my meaningful activities gives you some prompts to just consider some things that you really find enjoyable or you have in the past found enjoyable in your life and in your work. And then 15, page 15 of the workbook, thinking about your work. Again, some more prompts specifically on work. So those are I think helpful worksheets to go back to. Better yet, why wait until retirement to do what you really want to do? Remember, your work is not only related to your financial security, but it also has an enormous influence on your physical, emotional, and spiritual well-being. Your work can also enhance your personal relationships or destroy them. So if your work is costing you more in life than it's giving you, it's time to make a change. Whatever your age or circumstance, your life satisfaction will multiply when your work is in sync with your skills and interests, as well as your values and priorities. Research indicates that 9 out of 10 workers who seek career advice find they don't even need to leave their current employer to make major improvements in their work lives. For most, all that's necessary is a new perspective on personal priorities and some creative problem solving. To stimulate your thinking, here are 3 key areas that can have an enormous influence on your work-life satisfaction. So when your workplace responsibilities and activities. So here you'd want to take time to analyze what responsibilities and activities you like the most and those you like the least. And is there a way you can spend more time doing what you like less and doing more of what you do like? Or maybe another assignment or position, even within the same company, that would be a better fit for you. If so, it may be time to step outside your comfort zone and focus on your career growth. Another important aspect is the way you work. So maybe the content of your work is fulfilling, but work-related circumstances are getting you down. For example, maybe you love your job, but you hate your commute. Maybe you enjoy your responsibilities, but the office politics are driving you crazy. Are your projects exciting, but nonstop interruptions are robbing you of your productive work time? If you can isolate and identify what's causing your frustration, then you can seek creative solutions. And finally, your personal and professional growth. Perhaps the change that's necessary is actually within you. Maybe it's your attitude that's keeping you from fully appreciating what your workplace is giving you in terms of compensation, benefits, and career opportunities. In addition, it may be time to evaluate life balance. Stress in other areas of life can greatly affect how you feel about your work and your overall quality of life. Perhaps what you need is time off for rest and recreation, and as a result, renew your energy and enthusiasm for your work. Because of increasing longevity and growing societal acceptance of job mobility, it's not uncommon for an individual to have at least 2 careers and often multiple careers in a lifetime. After evaluating your current situation, you may come to the conclusion you want to make a major transition in your work life. Perhaps you'll find that you're ready for a new job, workplace, or career. Even if your current position has been rewarding and fulfilling, you may decide it's time for a new challenge and new experience. Here are several suggestions to prepare you to grab hold of your best work-life opportunities. So both before and after retirement, it's essential to accept responsibility for your own work, life success, and satisfaction. And that's if you're an employee, retiree, entry level, or executive, paid or volunteer. It's good to always remind yourself if it's to be, it's up to me. So other aspects here: know thyself, invest time in assessing your skills, interests, values, and priorities. There's so many tools online, starting with the ones in the workbook here, but You can find, many resources online or perhaps with a career coach. Dedicate yourself to continued learning. So stepping outside your comfort zone is a way to help you prepare for the future, of course. Reading books, taking classes, taking on new tasks and assignments, maybe even volunteering in some new areas that you're interested in. Keep up with technology. So easy to just get comfortable with what we know and not to expand our skills. And then strive to develop universal career skills, so those that will serve you well, no matter what your career. For example, competence, flexibility, and optimism are always valued. In addition, a strong work ethic, good communication skills, aptitude for creative problem solving, all these will increase the ability to succeed on any project or assignment. A couple more exercises to point you towards here on the in the workbook. If you put them all together, they're actually numbered consecutively. So page 20, work-life strategies. Kind of taking an introspective dive on some of these issues we just talked about. And this on page 21, if not now, what's stopping me? Just to bring more focus in on what it is you're trying to, what you know you would like to be able to do, but you're feeling stuck. So this is an exercise to shine a little more light on that. Again, if you have questions, I'm occasionally checking the chat box there. So most importantly, remember that regardless of your age or stage of life, realizing your career goals will depend on your resourcefulness, your ability to make the most of what you have and the opportunities available to you. So your aspirations could lead you to paid or volunteer work. You want to be prepared and qualified for the tasks and positions that would be most meaningful to you. In her book, I Could Do Anything If Only I Knew What It Was, Barbara Sher explains that the first step to finding work that fits is to understand the connection between doing what you love and doing something worth doing. She wrote, "It's at this intersection that you will find meaning." Therefore, if your work is pre or post-retirement, paid or unpaid, it's essential that your productive activities enhance both your self-worth and personal identity. Remember that the hallmark of a no-rules retirement mindset is the realization of purpose in the pursuit of your own life's work. Along with these points, you can find on page 23 of the workbook, my ideal no rules retirement week. Really considering if you were going to be sort of entering the no rules retirement phase of your life, what would you actually be doing? And it's broken down day of the week and time of day. So just sort of thinking about some specific things that you would imagine yourself finding meaning and purpose in. Okay, moving on to the third module. I think we're staying on time here. So a new way of thinking about your money. This is the third of our sections. So the goal of traditional retirement planning has been to build a nest egg of personal savings and investments that will supplement Social Security and for a few remaining people, possibly pension benefits. Together, these sources of retirement income have been referred to as the proverbial three-legged stool, a solid and well-balanced foundation for building financial security in old age. But we know that Social Security benefits are less generous than they once were, and the solvency of future benefits is always in question. And employers are also reducing retirement benefits, and many, maybe most, have switched to retirement plans that transfer the accountability for saving and investing to the employee. So two legs of the retirement income stool are shrinking. More responsibility for financial security has shifted to personal savings and investments. But for most pre-retirees, the third leg of the retirement stool is seriously underfunded as well. We need a new framework to guide our preparation for retirement. To add stability to the retirement income stool, the no rules retirement model proposes adding a fourth leg comprised of income and benefits derived from post-retirement work. In this scenario, retirees, quote unquote, will be either, they could be one, older at retirement, or two, have part-time or part-year jobs, three, they could move into new careers, or four, gradually phase out of current position rather than making an abrupt departure. In addition to income, post-retirement work also provides benefits that many adults find liberating and compelling. That's because they view retirement not as a respite from work, but as an opportunity to explore new arenas, stretch their comfort zones, and find unique ways to contribute to their families and communities. In the past, the transition to retirement has been viewed solely as an economic event. As a result, the focus of retirement planning has always been on building a nest egg. In The Late Start Investor, author John Wasik recommends discarding this obsolete view in favor of a quote, flexible life plan that provides for financial, vocational, physical, emotional, and spiritual needs. He explains, unless you look at your future holistically, merely saving up a pile of money will be a meaningless act. Of course, financial security is extremely important. We are not saying that, but the no rules retirement model emphasizes that financial planning alone will not guarantee a rich and rewarding life in retirement. Similarly, Thomas Stanley, author of The Millionaire Mind, points out that the most satisfied wealthy people don't just have financial goals, they also have life goals. In other words, they have clarity around what they want in life, and they use their wealth as a tool to support those values and priorities. So the most important message of the no rules retirement model is it takes more than money. With this in mind, make sure you not only consider how the transition to retirement will affect your life financially, but how will it influence all the other areas of your life? Okay, two exercises starting on page 26 of the workbook. The financial satisfaction assessment. Why don't we, I think we have time. Let's take a minute, if you have your pencil handy, to turn to page 26. And for each of these statements, you rate yourself how satisfied you are. With 0 is not satisfied and 5 is perfectly satisfied. So for each statement there, just to kind of get you into the mode of sort of thinking about this more broad perspective on finances and how that impacts your whole life. So we'll just take a minute or two on that financial satisfaction assessment, page 26. And then one to come back to, I think, defining true wealth. Can also be very insightful, give you a lot of insight into how you personally define true wealth, how you define success and life balance, and then and some more ways of thinking about, again, meaning and purpose. Okay, any thoughts on that? If you want to type anything in the question box. Any thoughts on that? We can go ahead and move to the next section here. The first step to investing your quality of life is to think about and clarify what's most important to you. This is the time to listen to your own heart and to focus on what you value most in life. Whatever you identify will become the foundation for your life goals. And then the next step is to think about the role that money can play in helping you achieve each life goal. Will having sufficient financial resources give you more options for realizing your goals? Will economic security give you more freedom to focus your time and attention on what's most important to you? And will financial independence in your retirement years allow you to pursue those activities that will give your life a sense of meaning and purpose? Answering these questions will help you understand how your money is integrated into all areas of your life, not as an end in itself, but as an instrument for creating the life you want, not just in retirement, but also now. Page 29, I'm just going to point this out again, another exercise. This one links up with the visualize your future that we did on page 10. Or actually, we didn't complete it yet, but when you do complete that, you can then skip over here to page 29 and think about what goals and priorities fall out of that visualize your future exercise. Thinking about it maybe in time frames. And some of these may have, we have a column here for the investment, like how much is it going to cost? Some may have a cost, some may not, but definitely thinking about priority, also super important. As you prepare for your own no rules retirement, it's also important to view your financial plan within a framework of your closest relationships. If you have a spouse or life partner, you will want to factor in his or her dreams and expectations as well as your own. You'll also want to take into consideration your responsibilities and your hopes for your children, parents, siblings, and whoever else you consider to be family. In addition, you can expand your vision by considering how your life and assets can bring significant benefit to others. Current trends in charitable giving indicate that a growing number of philanthropists are ordinary people who share an extraordinary desire to give back and to make a difference. In addition, donors are demonstrating more personal involvement by also contributing their time, energy, and expertise. They also express how their own life satisfaction has multiplied by their charitable giving and community service activities. As you think about your life and prepare for the future, consider these questions. Who fits within your circle of caring? Where can you make a difference? What causes would you like to advance? With whom do you want to share that which is most meaningful to you? An essential element of your life planning will be to determine the kind of legacy you want to leave to those individuals, organizations, and causes that are most important to you. And there's a couple exercises end of the workbook there, page 31 and 32, thinking about more about legacy issues and the important relationships in your life. So I hope you take the workbook and do some of those exercises. I hope that's helpful to you. And this is really kind of tightened up version of what I do with my clients as we go through the financial planning process that I use at Tamarind Financial Planning. If this is something you would like to learn more about, this is on the slide here, information about how you can connect with me. If you'd like to schedule a complimentary consultation, there's a Get Started button and tab on my website where you can find a time that's convenient for you. And there's my email there as well, emily@tamarindfinancial.com, and I'm going to check one more time here. I don't see any questions, so I think we're going to sign off a little early. Thanks again for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day, and do go back and enjoy the exercises in the workbook. Thank you.